This Raw Vision video is brought to you by Metro Solar, proud partner of the Richmond Football Club.
I guess, do you have an explanation for where the club sits at the moment?
Look, at the moment, it's our skill areas that are killing us. I mean, our stats would say we're in a pretty good shape, but our mental errors are the ones that are really letting us down at the moment. They're the things that are keeping teams in the game and are putting us out of them at the moment.
So how do you change it?
Oh, it's on the track. We've just got to get better with the ball. It's something that we pride ourselves on, and in the past couple of years we've been really good at it, but for some reason we've been no good at this year, and we're not hitting the scoreboard either. Our goal kicking's let us down too. So they're two areas that we can fix up out in the track, and we need to be diligent with it, and that's where it's going to start and obviously get our improvement from.
Can you feel it on the track though? Can you feel that it's different, or can you feel when it's not right?
Oh, it's easy to run around on the track, kick the footy around with your teammates without any pressure. So we've got to obviously train under pressure a bit more, and hopefully that's where it starts. And I mean, it's easy to say, it starts on the track, but the reality is that's where it is going to start for us.
Damien said that the sort of lapses within games was hard to fathom after the game. Have you got any sort of sense of what's happening?
No, not really. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, I think they scored 90 points out of their 110 off turnovers, and that's where the game's won or lost right there. Your ability to score off turnover, we can't do it at the moment, and unfortunately teams are doing it too easy against us, and it's probably because those errors are silly mistakes that just undefendable at times, and that's probably where the lapses come from. Geelong game was very similar, but as I said, the rest of the game, we're on top. Our stats would say that we're one of the better teams in the league, but for some reason, them lapses, those mental errors are the things that are killing us at the moment.
Are you training enough under pressure?
Oh, I think we are, but obviously the results aren't going away, so we need to increase it even more, and that's something that the coaches will no doubt look at, and as a group, as a leadership group as well, we'll be pushing for that too.
Richmond fans have had such high hopes, and their hearts keep getting broken year after year. Have you kind of got a message for them? Should Richmond fans be concerned about what they're seeing, or are you guys confident you can turn it around within this season?
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I've only been here a few years, but it's been a common theme for a long period of time, and to their credit, they continue to jump on board and back us up, and we really do appreciate it. And we need to repay them in a way that they feel that we are doing, and at the moment we're not doing that. I think the last couple of years we've made finals, and it's we didn't win a final, which is disappointing. But the competition's so even now, and if you don't have that ability to play a clean brand of football, you're going to get burnt. So to our supporters, we just ask you to continue to support the footy club, because you've been doing it for a long period of time, and you're the reason that this club's been able to get back up off its knees, and the reason where it's in the position it's in at the moment.
So you've played 50 games, Troy, yourself at Richmond. Do you feel like the club's any closer to a flag now than when you got here a couple of years ago?
Oh, definitely. I think our younger guys are coming through, guys like Brandon Ellis, Nick Vlosten, Dusty. These guys have started to... So when I first got to the club, they'd played 20, 50 games. They're getting up to around that 100 mark now, and that's where you start to see the improvement. So as a group, you're going to go through your lulls, but it's how you band together as a group and come out of that, and that's the strength of the group. The journey's never going to be easy. So for us as a group, we need to stay tight and continue to work out of it, because if we start to fracture as a group, that's when the club can unfold and go back to the dark days, and we don't want that as a group for sure.
You mentioned that they're mental errors, but are they purely mental, or is there a technical element as well that needs to be redressed?
Oh, look, there's certainly a technical element as well. I mean, I know Dimmer pointed out Dusty's kick across goal. Nick Vlosten drops a mark from a kick out. Like, that's a mental area. Dustin's might have been a technical area, so it's a combination of both. And they're the things that are costing us games of footy at the moment. It cost us on the weekend, as I said, that 15 minutes. Some of those turnovers are undefendable as a defender, and it just goes straight back over your head, and they're the hardest to deal with.
Is the ball movement too predictable?
Well, you want it predictable, because if it's not predictable, then how are you going to move the ball?
I suppose.
Oh, well, I mean, North Melbourne's ball movement's predictable as well. We knew that they like to empty out, and they'll play that handball chain from half back. So they play a predictable ball movement as well. Every team's got a predictable ball movement. It's how predictable you are to one another and how you execute it. And we didn't execute it on the weekend.
You mentioned the kids. They've improved, no doubt, but they appear to be a bit of workmanlike players. That you don't seem to have the match winners, the stars. You don't have those Jack Billings or Bontempellis, these kids that pop up. Are you happy enough with the crop that you've got?
Oh, very rarely you're going to get kids that come on the scene like them two guys. I mean, Bontempelli's a freak. I mean, he's in his second year. Billings obviously had a fantastic game on the weekend and helped St Kilda win the game, but it takes young guys a lot of time. It took Trent Cotchin a couple of years to become the player he was, Dustin Martin. Very rarely do guys come on the scene and are freaks like these guys. They're few and far between. So it's not always the top draft picks either that come on. I mean, I remember a young kid that came to Port Adelaide, Justin Westhoff, was picked 70, and you look at where he's become as a player. You don't have to be a top pick to be a superstar. It takes time, and to their credit, they've been able to fast track their development, but that's something that we'll continue to do. We've got one of the best development coaches in the league in Choco Williams. I think our guys are starting to find their feet, and we've got guys in the VFL who are pushing, but the reality is they're just not quite ready for AFL yet, and they've got to bide their time and continue to develop.
Do you feel for Damien Hardwick?
Oh, certainly, because I don't think Dimmock can't kick the footy for us. There's a lot of pressure on him, but the reality is that it's the playing group that are letting him down at the moment. He'll continue to back his players in and do the right thing by us, but at the moment we're letting him down as a playing group, and that's the most disappointing thing. And when you hear the media have a crack at him, the reality is it's the players that they should be coming after, because, as I said, Dimmock can't kick the footy for us on the weekend. That's the players.
You talked about the leadership group, but what role does the leadership group have to play this week in particular, do you think?
Oh, we need to continue to drive the standards. I think as a group last year, that was probably the one thing that we lacked, but to the group's credit, the standards this year have been fantastic, but we need to continue to grow and develop and make sure that as a group we hold one another accountable, and on the weekend that was just not acceptable. So as a group we'll look at the vision today, and we need to hold one another accountable. We're men, we've got to grow up and act like men.
Do you feel like you're saying this every Monday though?
Yep, certainly do. It's become, as I said, it's become a common theme, and the reality is it can either turn in 6 to 8 weeks, it can turn in a year and a half, but we want it to turn now, as soon as possible. Similar to last year, we changed some things, and the reality was we didn't know when it was going to turn, and for us it turned straight away. So we just got to continue to ride out this journey and make sure that it turns the right way for us.
You said those VFL guys aren't quite ready yet, but the VFL team is performing very well, and Damien said that there are likely to be changes. Do you not feel that pressure?
Oh, I certainly feel we want the guys underneath. I know Matty D's been playing some really good, consistent footy for 3 weeks. He was unlucky probably not to be in the AFL team last week, but there's other guys there who are in their first year of footy, and the jump up is significant. And they learnt throughout the NAB Cup how tough it is, and NAB Cup's completely different to the regular season. So these guys, they need to play consistent footy. We saw Anthony Miles do it for week on weekend last year, and finally got the opportunity. But no doubt there'll be changes, but they've got to be ready, and there's no use putting young guys in if they aren't ready, because it's just detrimental to the group and it's detrimental to their confidence as well.
It's a tough month coming up. Collingwood, Port Adelaide, Essendon, Freo, I think. How do you tackle it?
Oh, we'd tackle it head on. I mean, we're playing against some good teams. Collingwood obviously suffered a loss against Geelong the other night. They were disappointing in the first half, but their second half they started to turn around. So we know the quality of their guys, especially their younger guys. They've got a young group who are playing some really good football. And then we go to Port Adelaide, who, I mean, they're 3-3, but they've had a tough start to the year and played some really good footy and been unlucky in patches. So we know how tough the next couple of weeks are, and as you said, the month ahead, but the reality is we've got to focus on Collingwood this Sunday afternoon.
The last couple of weeks, your handball rates have been pretty high. Has that been a plan? Or?
No, it certainly hasn't, and that's something that is probably, for some reason, we've forced ourselves into trying to play quick, flat-out footy, and at times you do all the hard work to defend, and then you want to play that quick brand of footy and you end up turning it over, and that's what I was saying about those errors. They've cost us on the scoreboard. So for us, we need to execute a lot better, and that doesn't mean playing that handball happy game. We're a good skillful team by foot, and probably need to change that, but certainly hasn't been a plan going in.
On a positive note, you took quite an incredible mark on the weekend. What went through your mind there? How did it all play out?
Oh yeah, look, I was just lucky. I got a pretty good sit. It was just right place at the right time. So. Look, it was great to take a mark, but the reality is it doesn't mean anything when you lose a game of footy. It doesn't really bother me.
Is it the best mark of your career?
Probably it would be, yeah.
You just said the team needs to grow up and act like men, I suppose. In what sense can you do that? What do you mean?
Oh, we need to challenge one another and take the feedback and be honest with one another. Don't just bandy around the outside and just because we're mates. Like, we've got respect for one another. We need to be able to challenge one another and put it on one another to improve as a group and individually as well. And that goes to me too. I need to improve individually. It's there's not one or two players that need to improve. It's every single one of us. And it comes from the leaders, the senior guys, right down to the last guy on the list. And if this club's going to go forward, that's what needs to happen.
You were expected to play finals, I guess, at the start of the season. I'm assuming that you still want to. When you look at stats that say you're 13th in clearances, 14th in tackles, 11th in contested possessions, 14th in disposal efficiency, and 15th in 1%ers, what's your response?
Oh, well, the contested footy is something that we pride ourselves on, and we haven't been anywhere near good enough as what we have in the last couple of years. And stats would say if you win contested footy inside 50s, you're going to win more games than you lose. So for us, that's an area that we need to improve. Our inside 50s, I think we're right up there in our differential as well. We're the top two, but we haven't been able to score, or we haven't hit the scoreboard the way that we'd like to through our set shot inaccuracy. So contested football is one area and one focus that we need to make sure that we improve going forward, because we still believe that we can play finals football, but the reality is this competition's so even. We've seen, GWS beat Hawthorn on the weekend, West Coast beat Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. They're games that you'd probably pencil in for them teams, but it doesn't matter. You saw St Kilda come back against the Bulldogs. The game's about momentum these days, and if you can get on a bit of a roll, then anything can happen, and that's why it's going to be so hard to make finals. And as a group, we need to continue to push. We can't, as I said, disband and go our own way. We need to be in this together and ride the journey out.
You're angry, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I'm spewing with the way we've been playing at the moment. I'm not the only one, so it's been extremely disappointing, and I know that the supporters are disappointed in the way we're playing, and the players are as well. That's the most frustrating thing, is because I know how good this group can be and the ability we've got inside these four walls, and at the moment we're not performing anywhere near where we need to be.
Does the uncertainty about Alex Rance's situation have an impact on how the defence is playing?
No, I think our defenders have actually been pretty good this year. So, look, we support Rancy in whatever decision he wants to do, and they've come out and said that that's going to take time. Hopefully it's sooner than later, but I've got full faith in Alex as a player. We've seen how his performances this year, how good he is. He had one hiccup along the way, but he's an important player to this group, and he knows how important he is. So we'll continue to get around him, and hopefully that we get pen to paper soon. That'd be really nice.
Thanks, Troy.
No worries, guys. Cheers. Thank you.